Hi everybody, welcome to our final professional development webinar for the 2019-2020 school year. Today we're going to be looking ahead to some of the improvements for the upcoming 2020-2021 school year. My name is Chris Youst, and as always, if you have any questions or comments about this webinar, you're welcome to send those to me at chris.youst@CompuScholar.com. So today we're going to cover 5 main updates. We're going to talk about a replacement for the guidebooks. We'll talk through what we're doing in several different courses, and then wrap up with a brief mention of some of the updates for our LMS integrations. So the first thing we want to talk about are the guidebooks. And those of you that have been around for a while probably remember our guidebooks as those online spreadsheets where we would distribute the course registration codes for those of you that are using a standard deployment model, and that is also where we list contact information. So we're actually moving away from the guidebooks, and all of that information and kind of administration will be replaced by your new teacher dashboard. So if you're using what we call a standard deployment with those self-registration codes, you'll actually be able to self-allocate your courses in your teacher dashboard based on the license. So you no longer have to update a spreadsheet and request from us and then wait around a while and then wait for those codes to be added. So you'll be able to do that yourself automatically. If you're using a Cleverer class link for automatic rostering and single sign-on, then things will continue to work as normal. You don't need to add your classes yourself because that's done for you by the system. And then if you're in another LMS entirely, such as a Canvas or a Schoology system, then that will also continue to work as normal. The courses will be integrated into your system, and then you are in charge of your own rostering and sign-on and that sort of thing. So let's switch over to our system now, and we'll take a quick peek at this new feature on the teacher dashboard. Okay, I'm logged into the teacher dashboard with a sample teacher, and you can see that this teacher has a couple of different licenses here, and when those licenses are present and have room for additional students, you will see an add course button here. And so this is a new feature. It's not available in the production system yet, but we're going to roll it out over the summer, and you'll be able to add your own course. So let's say you've got a block license with 100 students and you've got headroom remaining, so you can add a new course. Now many of you will only have one license, so this will be auto-selected for you, but if you have multiple licenses that might apply, you can pick the license that you want to use. And then pick which CompuScholar title you want to pick. So if you want a new Unity game programming course, we just pick that. And if you need a certain number of students, you can see this license has 10 students left. So let's just add all 10 of them, and we're going to enter the name for the course, Davis Unity Game Programming. So you've always been able to create a unique name for your own course. You're not stuck with our defaults. However, that was something you would do kind of on the back end if you thought about it, and now that's going to be front and center. So you're going to pick your own name for your course, and that way you'll hopefully come up with something that is intuitive and useful for you and your students. And then you just click Create Course, and that will go off and create the course and add that to your list. So once you've done that, let's go back. You would see your new course here in the list, and then you could then dive into the course and take a look at it. Now as a teacher, you're going to be automatically enrolled in this course, so you no longer have any sort of need for a teacher registration code. You will still use the student registration code, and you can see that student code here. And if you click on the code, you'll go to the Manage My Logins page, where again you can see that same code and the number of uses that are left on it. Now if you allocate a certain number of students originally, and that you find that you need to add more students to this class or reduce the number of allocations from your license, you can click on this adjustment button, and that will let you add and remove students from this particular course back into your license. So this gives you a great way to carefully manage the number of student logins that you've assigned to any one course and recover those back into your main license if you want to then use them on a different course. And naturally, if you have an unlimited campus license, then you can add as many students as you want to any of the courses. That's the beauty of that unlimited campus license. Now if you decide you don't want one of the courses that you allocated, you can click on Remove Course, pick the course that you want to get rid of, and permanently delete that course. And of course there's all sorts of warnings here. This is our permanent operation, so don't delete anything, and then email us and say, oops, can I have it back? So that is a permanent deletion of that course. And so these are the new enhancements we're working on for your teacher dashboard. So at the beginning of the 2020-2021 school year, you'll be able to self-manage your courses here in this My Courses block, and that will be a complete replacement for those old guidebooks. And again, if you are using Clever or ClassLink for automatic rostering and single sign-on, you don't need to worry about any of this, as the classes will be allocated for you automatically. So the next thing we want to talk about is our Python programming course. We've been working hard on some auto-grader improvements, and these are actually already rolled out within the last couple of weeks to our system. So those of you that are in Python already can see these on your live courses. There's a few things that we've done. The output of the test cases has been greatly enhanced, so you can now see the input and the output interleaved correctly, the same way that you would if you ran that on the console. You can also see a diff box that shows you the difference between the student output and the expected output. So we had many cases where students and teachers, frankly, couldn't figure out what was wrong with the program. It looked okay, but it still failed the test case. And in a lot of cases, that was simply due to some subtle error in the output. And with the diff here, those errors will become much more obvious. And the last thing that we've rolled out is the option to allow preview of student grades. So you can now configure on a course-by-course basis whether you want to allow the students to preview their grade before the final submission and the number of those previews that they're going to get. So let's flip over and take a look at that. All right, I'm in a sample Python programming course, and if you click on Configure Course, we'll scroll down a little bit, and there's a new auto-graded coding activities configuration option here. And this allows you to select the number of previews. So if you want the course to continue working the way it always has, you would select 0, meaning the students don't have that preview option at all. Or you can give them some number of preview attempts, let's say 3, and we'll save those changes. Now let's go in and take a look at one of the activities. So on the Student Submission Status tab, if previews are enabled, they'll have a new preview grade option, and it says you've got 3 previews remaining. So when the student has coded and iterated themselves using the normal run button, and they think their program is ready to go for full credit, they can come in here and click the preview option. And that will go off and evaluate it just like a normal submission would. And when that preview assessment is done, you can see an assessment report just like you normally would in the gradebook, and it tells the student, hey, you've got a failed output test, and in fact here is the difference, and the student can kind of stare at this and say, well, what's the difference between this line, and pretty quickly home in on a spelling error that was the cause of the test case failure. And so this gives the student a chance to go back and correct their code and kind of reiterate, and then when they're pretty confident they're going to get full credit, they can do another preview if they have any previews left, and then figure out if they're ready to submit. Now on the teacher side, you'll have your normal submission list. You can click on grade to look at the results. We scroll down here, you'll see because the student failed 1 test, their grade is a 90, and you can look at that and see exactly what's gone wrong. And you can decide at your discretion to override those test case results. So we'll just click yes here, and you've decided that this little spelling error was harmless enough and you want to award full credit, and you can see that boosts the grade up to a 90, and you just save that when you're done, and that would give the student full credit. So we think these enhancements combined will be a great boon to your Python programming course administration. It'll make your job of grading a whole lot easier, and it'll give your students a higher degree of confidence when they're ready to submit. So the next thing that we want to talk about are some updates to our Java programming course. There are a couple of big picture things that we're doing to this course. First is we're taking an opportunity to reorder some of the content. So many of you are using this as an AP CSA prep course, and the College Board has come out with their recommended unit sequence, which is just an alternate way to present the material in a certain order. And so we recognize that many of you are looking for a curriculum that follow that unit sequence in order to make using the sample questions and so forth provided by the College Board easier. So we are taking our existing content and reordering it such that it follows the unit sequence more closely. So that'll be one big picture change to look forward to. And then the next thing that we're doing is we're making this Java course something that will be very friendly to distance learning, to situations where you need to do zero installation of software. So if you need something that'll work on a Chromebook or a tablet or so forth, that's what we're aiming for. So we'll also, as part of that, be reworking those chapter activities to be auto-graded projects, much like the Python course. So when we are done with these updates, you will have a Java AP-CSA course that is fully auto-graded. The offline projects, especially the GUI work and the use of IDEs like Eclipse, is very popular still in some cases, and so those things are not going away, but they'll just be optional and moved towards the end of the course. So if you want to use an offline IDE and you want to do manual grading of projects, or you just want to explore those for a few weeks towards the end of the course, then you're still welcome to do that. Now, we are working on these updates to the Java course now. We do not expect the course to be fully finished for the beginning of the 2020-2021 school year. So we would dearly love for that to happen, but we suspect it will not. And so we'll have some further announcements about the rollout plans for this new material and the new course structure in the coming months. And so if you're interested in this, be sure to shoot me a quick email and we can make sure to keep you on that announcement list. And if possible, we'll roll this out in a limited fashion to some beta users in the fall of 2020. All right, and the last thing I wanted to mention is we're going to tweak some of the chapters in Digital Savvy. So the web design chapters in particular are going to gain the in-lesson coding boxes that are already present in our web design course. So this is an example lesson from the Digital Savvy course, Chapter 20, Lesson 1, and this is all about HTML. And so we're introducing our online coding tool where the students can type code here right in the browser and then show the results off to the right. And so this will provide a more interactive way for our Digital Savvy students to learn how to do HTML, just like our web design students. So there will still be offline projects that the students will code and submit to the teacher for grading, but when they're learning the skills here in the lessons, they'll have the opportunity to kind of dynamically play with the HTML and the CSS and see what happens right here in the live code window. So we think our Digital Savvy students are going to enjoy this enhancement. So the last thing I wanted to mention quickly is the availability of auto grading through our common cartridge integrations. So those of you that are using Schoology or Canvas or some other sort of LMS today and you want to use Python are probably aware that the auto grading feature from Python does not port through into those other LMSs. So that's just not something that is easily supported through that common cartridge. Nonetheless, we are working hard on that to make that happen, and we expect to be able to support that for certain learning management systems such as Canvas and Schoology. So be on the lookout for announcements about the availability of new cartridges that would allow you to do auto grading of Python and Java when that's ready within your own learning management system. So that's a quick preview of the coming attractions for the next school year. As always, we welcome your feedback and suggestions, and you can reach us at our website or by emailing me directly. Thanks for watching.